New story up on the BBC today, ladies and gents. It's only 4 hours old. The 7 bills due to go up in April. Yeah, bet you're loving that, aren't you? It's mint when bills go up. I'm loving reading that. Ultimately, you get what you pay for in a democracy, don't you? You do. The system works. The great British public was daft enough to vote for the Labour government when everybody knows what's on the menu when Labour win a general election. Price rises. It's take from the workers to give to the people who refuse to lift a finger all day long. Every single time you toil so you can buy the chicken McNuggets and the noodle doodles and the scratch cards and the Super Kings and the special brew. For the lame and the lazy, the imported, I almost said migrant worker, don't do any work. You toil to feed the lazy. And everything goes up as a result. Suicidal policies, pay raises for all of the public servants because the unions all own them, and the increasingly small group of people who actually produce for a living, the producers, the private businesses that make money, they get smashed to pay for all this nonsense. So let's have a read about the 7 bills that are going to go up in April. However, I will point one thing out. Before we even start reading it, I'm relatively certain I can name one of them on account of the fact Keir Starmer said this shortly before he got elected.
You know, the energy companies and the government talking about £3,500 possibly for energy bills going up to £4,000. I suspect, like many other people, you shudder at that because these are huge amounts of money, which is why we say under a Labour government we'd freeze those prices. We wouldn't allow them to go up, Ella, because what you're already paying is going to go through the roof. And I don't know how you would cope with that, Ella.
Full time, term time, because I've got a young child.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah. The fake empathy of the professional liar. Oh, Ella, like he's trying to be heartfelt. We just wouldn't allow them to go up, Ella, because we don't know how you'd be able to cope, Ella. So we wouldn't let the prices go up. Yeah, and he's secretly thinking, Ella, you thick as shit, brain dead mackem. You're going to vote for me anyway, Ella, aren't you? Of course you are. And we don't like rough-handed labourers from Sunderland, but you'll still vote for us because your mum and dad told you it was a good idea. Either Ella isn't working, so she'll be fine. She'll just get knocked up by the pizza boy or the Uber driver or next fella that knocks on the door, or she works for a living and she's getting absolutely hammered. I hope it's the latter, and Ella was a Labour voter, because I hope it turns to ash in her mouth, the choices that she's made in her life. Anyway, I'm rambling. I'll read you the story. I'll walk through these wonderful price rises that you're all going to get malleted with. I say wonderful because nothing gets the mob angry like price rises for the basics. And then I'm going to tell you why, if the human toilet that we call the Prime Minister makes it to the end of the year, I'll be absolutely astounded. I was going to say the only thing that would surprise me more would be if Jeremy Vine suddenly dropped his trousers and started pulling himself off on live TV. But this is Jeremy Vine we're talking about. Right then, the 7 bills due to go up in April. Buckle up, boys and girls. Kia's coming in dry. Energy costs are just one of a number of bill rises which are coming into force at the start of what commentators have described as awful April. The exact amount you pay will depend on your individual circumstances and where you live. Individual circumstances, yeah. If you're a career dolly and you've done less work than Mick Philpott, you won't have to pay for anything. But if you're a bricklayer or a plumber or a bus driver or a scaffolder or a cleaner, you best grab your ankles, son. All right, grab your ankles and think of England. Water bills for households are due to go up in England and Wales by £10 more each month on average. But there's a lot of variation. The Southern water bill will jump by 47%, while Anglican water customers will pay 19% or more. Whoops. Again, Labour government does exactly what it says on the tin. For the essentials as well. Always for the essentials. If it was even remotely something that you could just cut out, you know, if you're talking about the price of Jaffa cakes or Pinot Grigio or something, it wouldn't be the end of the world. But it's water. I know I live a famously Spartan lifestyle, but even I wouldn't say you can go without water. So thanks for that, Keir. Cheers, mate. Number 2, energy bills. The annual energy bill for a household using a typical amount of gas and electricity will go up £111 a year to £1,849 from April. It affects 22 million homes in England, Wales and Scotland. Fantastic. Council tax. It's likely the tax you pay to your local authority will go up from April. Local authorities with a responsibility for delivering social care can increase council tax every year by up to 5% without triggering a referendum. So they'll stick 5% on it every year and you can't do anything about it. Well, we all knew that, didn't we? Because basically you're living in a police state. If they can lock you up for slagging off your local councillors or send the police round, which has been all the rage the last couple of weeks, of course you can't do anything about this, can you? Next up is car tax, which from April is rising £5 and £195 a year. And you can pay more if your car was first used before 2017. Yeah, probably trying to get you to drive one of the hippie cars. Oh no, scratch that, because it says one big change is that electric vehicles will no longer be tax exempt. I love it. Electric vehicles registered from April will pay the lowest rate of £10 in the first year, then move to a standard rate. So everything's a lie. They go, oh, just use the electric car and then you won't have to pay as much tax. You get rid of your petrol. Go on, get rid of your petrol car and splash out on a brand new electric one because, yeah, it's going to cost you a load of money, but at least you won't have to pay any tax on it, yeah. And then they wait for you to scrap your petrol car, splurge on the electric car, then they go, we'll just tax you. We'll just tax the electric car anyway. Cheers then. Yeah. Same old tactic, innit? So you're getting stitched up if you were daft enough to listen to the human scum that lord it over you. Broadband, phone and TV licences are now going up. But don't worry, the government's changed the rules to say that broadband providers have to tell you in pounds and pence about price rises. Yeah, that takes the edge off. You know what really annoyed me about price rises? Not telling me in pounds and pence. Yeah, it wasn't the money leaving my bank account in increasingly large chunks. It was not telling me in pounds and pence. Yeah, it really upset me, that. SIM-only contracts. So again, the poorest people, the scruffy people who don't get a new phone every 6 months, their bill's going to go up by £150 a month. Stamp duty's going up as well, and you have to start paying it on any property over 125 grand. So unless you live in a hovel or obviously a terraced house in Middlesbrough, you're going to be paid a ton more stamp duty. First-time buyers currently pay no stamp duty on homes up to 425 grand, but this is dropping to 300,000. And anyone starting a search for a property will now likely struggle to move before the stamp duty changes. Winner. But don't worry, the government's still making it hard for people to build houses and importing a couple of million hairy-arsed unvetted geezers from the third world every year. So don't worry, that'll make house prices... oh no, hang on. Basics of supply and demand. That makes house prices go up, doesn't it? Whoops, silly me. And finally, don't forget about the hidden tax rises. They're my favourite ones. The old stealth taxes. But the policy amounts to a tax rise because of a process called fiscal drag, which sees more people being dragged into paying higher rates of tax as wages rise. And according to figures from the government's financial watchdog, nearly 4 million additional people will be expected to pay income tax and 3 million more will have moved to the higher rate. Fantastic. And the cherry on top is the reporting is done by, half a dozen faceless strangers whose names I definitely couldn't pronounce because they look like someone dropped a Scrabble box on the newsroom floor. All right, brilliant. Maybe the tactic of the Labour government is to reduce immigration by making England so unbearably shit that nobody would want to move there. Yeah, they're going for the nationwide borough effect. That's when the Afghan and the Somalians and the Iraqis get a bus straight up to Middlesbrough bus station, take one look out the window and then go, shall we just go home? Shall we? I think we'll best pop home, yeah. It's a novel approach, I'll give him that. At least he's trying new solutions. And the AI summary from Grok, nice and succinct there, said UK households are facing at least a 6.4% increase in energy bills from May, escalating to about £1,849 a year. This rise occurs despite Labour's pledges to reduce energy costs, sparking criticism from various quarters. The Labour government has attributed it to global gas price fluctuations and is advocating for a shift towards clean, homegrown energy. Cheers, easy. So they haven't got a plan, they haven't got a clue, they haven't got a Scooby. And you're going to get hammered, unless you're a career dolly, at which point you'll probably still be loving life, won't you? Laughing at your betters as they go to toil on the building site all day, while you and your Marley mates drink cans on deck chairs that you don't pay for. No, you didn't even buy the deck chair, let alone the cans. So I hope this cheers you up, everyone. Just to put the cherry on top, this should cheer you up. I live in California, which people think is expensive, and our electricity bill every month in a 3-bedroomed house is about $36 a month. So what's that? 42 quid, something like that. Yeah, it's well expensive in California, isn't it? Yeah, of course it is. Not quite as expensive as living under Labour, though. Anyway, that's me for the day. That's enough gloating. I hope this gets you angry. As someone who lives in a state of perpetual rage, I hope you realise I'm simply trying to stir your loins a little bit. Yeah, if you're living in England, things are going terrible, but we knew it was going to happen. We knew it. It was, dare I say it, all part of the plan, wasn't it? 2025, 2026, 2027, everyone's boiling over. Yeah. And then 2028, either Labour refuse to let anybody vote, which is very likely, at which point the guillotines will come out and we'll get change, or we get a new government formed by people that aren't in blue Labour, the Greens, the Lib Dems, the SNP, or the Plaid Cymru communists over in Wales. Everything's going exactly as planned. I told you needed to buckle up. Prep, get whatever legal weaponry you can, have rations and food in storage. I told you all of this 12 months ago, so I hope you listened. If you didn't, I hope you've at least kept yourself limber and you've got plenty of KY jelly, because as I keep telling you, Comrade Starmlin will come in dry if you let him. All right, that's me. Thanks for tuning in. It's good to be back, and I'll see you all tomorrow. Toodle pip. Cheers.